Hello and welcome to Course Wizards. I'm Christopher Maselli and I'm here with my co-host Amit Aurora. How are you doing today, Amit?
What up, Chris? We are back. We didn't go anywhere. We just stopped the
Pretty
recording
cool.
and started a new one.
That's right. Because we are talking about this is part two of what we were talking about last week. Now, last week we covered some of the best note-taking apps for course creators because you might want to be taking notes, keeping research information and all that. And we talked about some of the, I would say, what more simpler ones, right? Like Apple Notes and Bear and Microsoft OneNote, Evernote, and Notion. But
Yep.
today, tell everyone what we're getting into today, Amit.
Today, we're getting into the more complex note taking ecosystem where you have interlinking of notes, you have your second brain, your third brain, you have too many brains, you lost your brain.
Now, why would we want to interleave notes? What does that mean?
So, think about it this way: you're writing, let's say, we'll use your favorite example, right? Dog walking.
Dog
You
walking.
are writing a note about how to walk your dog, and then you have another note that you somewhere within this note taking app, or just you have another note in the ether about best foods for dog that you want to reference, because food, eat, poop kind of all goes together, right? And walking, so it's
Okay.
all connected. So you can, let's say, you can just do like a hashtag or a at mention and start typing the name of that other node, and it automatically finds it and links it. Now you
Yeah.
have these two nodes interlinked, and you that interlinking can go on forever as much as you want. So that's the benefit, and that way you can see a visual map almost of, okay, here's how all my notes are interlinked. This topic talks about this, but also there's this overlap, and that it can get interesting and definitely some benefit to it.
Yeah, people really like this when it comes to research, right? If they're researching for a project or they're in school, a lot of times that's where hear people who are in college talking about these kind of apps because as you're making notes, small notes on individual items, but then you're linking them to one another, you start to see connections your mind wouldn't have otherwise made. And that's what people love about this stuff. And it's creative stuff. I recommend you look at it. Look at some of these as we talk about them afterwards. Go and look them up yourself and just kind of see how this works because it's fascinating.
Yep. It's a different way of thinking almost.
Hmm.
Like you have to rewire your brain to think like that,
Yeah.
to be more productive, to actually make good use of these tools. But for some people, the first episode about the notes that we link to might be better, or just, I think most people just use that. They're like, I'm happy with simple. I don't want to get complex.
Yeah. Most of us just want to capture ideas, and that's what those notes apps allow us to do. With these node apps, you're going to see not only can you capture ideas, but you can also, as we talked about, interlinking them, which will let you come up with new connections. And so it kind of depends on what you're wanting to do, whether you're just wanting to store information or do more with it. And that's why I think a lot of people have moved to these new breed of apps is because they've realized they have thousands of notes that they never look at again, right? They get lost in these file drawers of these apps,
Yep.
whereas these new apps always keep the old notes alive again because you're interlinking from your old notes to your new notes, and so it makes everything a little more it breathes new life into those old notes and helps you have what they call a second brain because you're
Yep.
not having to think about it; it's just happening. So,
Perfect.
what's the
All right.
first
So
one of it?
so the first one, Chris, you mentioned you have used this, is
Yeah,
called
I've used this
Obsidian. And
Obsidian.
yeah, let me just share my screen again. So for those of our viewers who are on YouTube can actually see this with me. I downloaded it, Chris, and I tried to use it. I think it was too complex for me, so I gave up.
Yeah.
It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Mac OS, Linux. Uh, all sorts of Linux, Snap Linux, App Image, and Windows. So it's available for a lot of different platforms, and their tagline says a second brain for you forever.
Yeah, they're really leaning into the whole second brain, moniker, and I Obsidian, I downloaded it. Here's the cool thing about Obsidian is that it fully uses Markdown, which we talked about in last episode, which is a way to format notes. That's also what Bear uses, if you remember from last episode. So I was able to take all my notes from Bear and immediately put them in to Obsidian, and they looked exactly the same, right? That's the great thing about Markdown. It can go between one app to another without messing up your notes. And so a lot of people like that. It's easy to get in and out of Obsidian without messing up your notes. And it does do that whole web thing we were talking about. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see the Obsidian app here. You can see the web that Amit talked about just a moment ago.
Yep. It's like interlinking all this stuff about evergreen notes. Writing is telepathy is kind of like the main note that we're looking at right now, but that branches out to on writing, that branches out to books, that branches out to calmness is a superpower. Writing is telepathy branches out to evergreen notes. So
Mhm.
you can interlink them. Some of the taglines that they have here is Obsidian is a powerful and extensible knowledge base that works on top of your local folder of plain text files. So you can convert plain text files into something powerful. They have the
Yes.
graph view we talked about. They have backlinks, right? Converge your thoughts. It says broaden your view to see this note in other contexts with relevant pages where you have mentioned the same stuff. Um, See all existing and potential links from one note, turn mentions into links with one click. So a lot of cool stuff. It says your knowledge building blocks. You can mix and match calendar, Kanban, date view. You can, it's all do it yourself. It says notes for your grandchildren.
The idea being that it never you have things. First of all, they're in a local file, and two, it's in Markdown, so you're not going to have it locked into a system. You remember me talking last episode about how I had notes in Evernote, and I couldn't get them out very easily. With something like Obsidian, you can easily get them out, so they're totally future proof. Obsidian essentially just takes the notes that are already on your hard drive and displays them in a way that you can use.
Yep.
I think Obsidian is also free. They do have like a pro tier for development to help with development that's $25 a year, but the personal that's free is probably good enough for most people. And is that $25 for that is that per year or I think that's just a one-time payment of $25 to get some of the added on bonuses, although I don't even think you'd need them.
Yep. And then you have add-on services like Sync. If you
Mm,
want to sync, it says built-in version history, priority email support. That one is per month, but it's billed annually for $8 a month. Then you have one called Publish, which is $16 per month per site, which means you'll get like your notes published to a site. Doesn't
yeah.
say which site. I'm guessing their site.
No, I believe it's your own. I believe it's, well, maybe it is their site, but it's a way that you can publish all your notes to the web for other people to see and interact with.
Perfect. So that is Obsidian. Again, it's little bit heavy duty,
Yeah.
but definitely worth something checking out. Now, there's one which almost goes hand in hand with Obsidian, right? And that's
Yep.
Rome Research. Rome Research is another one that's talked about, almost similar to Obsidian. Their website isn't as robust, I would say, as but maybe their name precedes it, right? They don't need to have a super cool looking website. So if you go to romeresearch.com, we're looking at in my on my screen right now. Same concept. You can interlink different nodes. You can have bold, italic, checklists, easy finding, filtering. You can star things. Um, and then there's some reviews like testimonials from people. Now,
My under Oh, it's more expensive, isn't it?
yes, it's not free. It's a 30-day free trial, but after that, the cheapest plan is $15 a month. Or if you believe in them, you can go with their believer plan, which is $500 for 5 years, so about $100 a year.
Yeah. So, my understanding is that Rome Research is pretty much like Obsidian, and it was actually out before Obsidian was out. And then Obsidian was kind of became the new kid on the block. And a lot of people move from Rome to Obsidian, though some people still love Rome. Um, but I would definitely, if you're thinking about looking at Rome, look at Obsidian because they do pretty much the same thing and they work very similarly.
Cool. So the next one, Chris, you said this is very UX focused, user interface, user experience focused. It's slick, it's sexy, it's cool. Everyone's talking about it on YouTube, and it's called craft.do. D-O.
Yes, craft. So craft, the whole idea with craft is that you're creating notes, but they look beautiful, right? That's the whole thing with it is that you can take just a regular looking note, like you might have an Apple Notes or Bears or even Evernote, and you can make it look really cool. They really work on their UI to make sure that when you don't just have bullets, right? You've got the kind of thing that almost every note almost looks like a website. It really is very polished and clear, and you're building. That's their tagline. You're building documents, right? And so it has a lot of impact. It does work on all your devices and it's very slick. Is it Mac only or is it Mac and Windows on it? I see their pictures are all Mac.
Yeah, the pictures are on Mac, but it's hard to tell here on their website whether, I mean, if I go to download, yeah,
Oh
download
no,
for
there's a
Windows,
Windows.
Mac, or launch in browser.
Yeah, so it's in your browser, it's on Windows, it's on Mac, so it works on pretty much everything. If you're really into wanting to look at your notes as far as have them be visually appealing, this might be something for you. Some of you who are very artistic and just love that kind of stuff, you don't want to just have a regular table. You want to have this kind of table that just pops. You might like craft. What does craft cost, Amit?
Yeah, let's look at their pricing. So they do have a free plan, which is 1000 blocks for free, 1 gigabyte of storage, publish documents to the internet, and sync as many devices as you want. So it looks like they have taken a cross between Notion and Evernote, because
Yeah.
Evernote was free plan was sync only 2 devices. They're like, nah, we're gonna sync all devices.
Mhm.
Notion used to be 1000 blocks, so they must have followed in that footstep. But now Notion said, no, we're going to give you unlimited blocks, but Craft is 1000 blocks. And then I'm looking at one of the templates here. You're right, it does look pretty slick. It looks like a website almost. Um, it's got some accordion style, like open close bullets. It
Yep.
has a table in here. Uh, Kind of doesn't look mobile friendly, maybe, but looks pretty slick.
Yeah, to me, it's like if you want each note to look like a website, this is the one for you. Personally, I don't want to spend that much time on my notes. I just want to be able to take my notes and keep the information. I do like the idea of linking them, but so that's why this one really isn't for me. But again, there's a very loyal crowd out there that love craft, and so if you like the visual thing, check it out. They got a free plan. You might as well download it and give it a shot.
Yep. And then their tagline does say, when your work needs to wow, Craft gives you the tools to make it magnificent. So I think it's more than just note taking, right? It's if you're sharing something with someone else. And this might work for someone like me. When I send proposals out, uh, Chris, I just send proposals out which looks like a Word doc, like in
Right.
Google Doc, which is kind of like this, right?
Uh-huh.
But if I up level that proposal and send it by making it look more beautiful, like the way they've shown here in a screenshot, why not?
Yeah, why not? And I believe it is collaborative too, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, now the next two, I think we're starting to take it even to another level, aren't we?
Yeah. So the next one I have here on my list is called Tana. This one is invite only, so it's not available.
Tana.
Yeah, Tana.inc. All these domain names, man.
Yeah, I know.
So let's go to Tana.inc. Uh, it looks very interesting. Even on their homepage, there's like hardly anything there. There's like a GIF that starts. Everything starts with a single dot. Like when you start typing, let's say you start typing something, that becomes a bullet, but that bullet becomes clickable. So you click onto that bullet. Now you're inside the bullet and you can create more bullets and more bullets and more bullets. Kind of like Notion, page in the page and the page and the page, but it's a bullet concept versus a page concept. They call it the Everything OS. So the Everything operating system. It says, this is a bold statement. It says, get ready to cancel half your software subscriptions. Tana's combination of simple concepts lets you build anything.
No, that's
Okay.
a big promise there, and that's a okay. We'll see.
So you can see in the demo here that they're showing on their website for our listeners. It's like a bullet called deliverables. Under those deliverables, there are sub bullets. One is called setup, one is called interactive mockup, one is called update, one is called fix sign in issues. And each one of those sub bullets have a tag in front of them, almost like a hashtag. So those hashtags become kind of like your reference points that you can then reference anywhere else. So then you will be able to click on a hashtag and say, oh, I said hashtag task somewhere, and all your task related hashtags will show up.
Yeah, it says everything is connected in a graph.
Yep. So we have a
Huh.
graph here, collect, connect, collaborate. Instantly find exactly what you're looking for. Everything in Tana is connected in a graph. So you can leave files and folders behind. So all we have done so far is talk about files, folder structure. Tana is like, nah,
Mhm.
you don't need that. We're going to connect everything in a more unique way with graph. Sure. I mean, it looks cool. I saw a YouTube video. It looks awesome. You can create different views. So now the same sub bullets are being represented in a Kanban kind of board, almost like Trello, where you can drag and drop things into different statuses. Uh, and you have all these different use cases that they're showing. They're showing some to dos, they're showing some daily notes, they're showing meeting notes, they're showing release checklists. I mean, it looks really slick. But the thing is, it's currently invite only. So you have to go through a form, fill out that form, and once you fill it out, you'll get notified, and they are not free. It says Tana is free for now. We will not charge for usage right away. When we do start charging, we will give you a heads up of at least 45 days in advance. And they're thinking of charging $10 a month or $100 annually. So it's a little on the higher side of note taking.
Mhm.
But according to them, you can cancel almost half your subscriptions.
Yeah, that's that's pretty good. Yeah, so this is interesting to me. I'm wondering if this is as complicated to set up as Notion because some of the things look like Notion. Um, on the other hand, I do like how everything links together like Obsidian. So it's definitely a cross between a few of the platforms we've looked at. Um, I would be definitely on kind of a I'm intrigued, but I'm going to wait and see category.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it looks like they have a pretty decent sized team, right? What are we looking at here? About 12, 16 people on their team. So looks like they have a good enough team. Their team comes from a wide range of technology. Team members have worked at Google, Facebook, Twitch, Slack, Twitter. So smart people.
We think they're smart people.
And they have backers, right? So let's look at
Yeah.
their backers. First Minute Capital, Lars Ramondsen, founder of Google Maps, VP of Dropbox, founder of Datadog, ex product and machine learning at Dropbox, and partner at Sequoia Capitals. So they have some big names representing them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting. I think,
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll let you know if when one of us gets an invite or something, what we think of it.
yeah, I did apply for early access, so we'll see. The
Yeah.
last one I have on my list here, Chris, is called MEM.ai. So first, let me try to open MEM um, just in a regular private window, so we can look at what it does before we log into my instance, and I can kind of show you around. So same concept here. Mem says say goodbye to folders, introducing the world's first self-organizing workspace. Mem is the easiest way to capture, share, and make use of knowledge. So not just notes, but knowledge.
All right.
So here we're looking at one of their demos on their screen. You can see it's a marketing campaign brainstorm. It has the hashtag marketing. And based on that hashtag, you can see similar notes or similar memes on the right side that that reference the same hashtag. Also, there's a person's reference here, Jets. So it'll probably also reference that person there.
Yep.
Um, Trusted by a bunch of teams. The fastest way to capture anything, it says. One key press to save a web page. I haven't personally saved the web page, Chris, because I think that's a Mac only feature, but it is pretty cool how you can simply just capture a web page.
Yeah, I like that.
Uh, you can text notes directly to Mem because they have a special text number that's unique just for your instance.
And that's a great idea. Every one of these note apps should do that.
Yep. Powered by AI. So they have something called MemX, which is AI powered, but that is on the paid plan. Search the way you think. This is interesting to me. Find what you're looking for faster with context aware natural language search. And natural language search is, they're showing an example here. It says, someone is typing in a search box, ads I worked on last month. Because that's
Mm.
what I would search, right? Like humans, hey, if I have a 24/7 data engineer, I'm going to go to the data engineer and say, you know what, give me reports of all the ads I worked last month.
Yeah.
He's going to crunch numbers, but why can't we just search like that? So that I thought was pretty neat. Collaborate. So they have the collaborate functionality, uh, less back and forth. So they have an inbox, they have timeline, they have tasks. Chris, do you want me to jump in here and show you how this works?
Sure. Let's go ahead and look at your instance real quick and just get kind of an idea of what it looks like.
So I'm in my instance, and apologies in advance for the loud keyboard here. Uh, Here's some things. On the left side, I have my timeline, I have my inbox, I have my tasks, I have my tags. And then I have my start notes. And then I also have a bunch of hashtags here, right? And then on the bottom here, I have groups, flows, and trash. So we won't go into all of that. Some of the cool things I'll show you. One is what they call templates. So how templates work is if I just start typing with a backslash, all my templates show up. So I can say, let's use the one-on-one meeting template. So my template just got filled. I said, okay, I'm having a one-on-one meeting with Chris.
Hey,
Right?
that's good.
Your name isn't here. So let that
Oh, should be in there.
Chris Maselli. It's not here. Let's create Chris Maselli. I literally just created a database entry
Hmm.
in a table with your name. I can click your name. I can say, Chris, my podcast co-host. So I have notes about who you are.
Okay. I like that. That'd be a great for keeping track of your customers and your clients and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a very lightweight uh, CRM, right?
Hmm.
So I made some notes here. Uh, let's say your date of birth is, okay, I just entered today's date, just so easy.
Mm.
So that's one thing. Now let's get into search, which is the most powerful functionality. Um, we had a meeting, internal company meeting, and it was with this woman Morgan. And then a week later, Morgan says, "Amit, did you remember the software we talked about in that meeting?" I'm like, "Give me a minute, Chris, literally a minute." I went into my search. I searched Morgan. Morgan shows up. And then I was able to, let me go back to the home page here and search. Oops, I can't type today. So I searched for Morgan. All the meetings with Morgan are right here. I'm like, oh my God, which meeting was it? So I went quickly. I'm like, I know she mentioned it in one of these meetings. Which one was it? I'm looking. I went through three notes. I found what she was looking for. And I messaged her right away. I was like, was it this software? Obviously, now I have more meetings. So for this example, we'll have to go through all my notes here. She said, oh my gosh, you're the best. Yes, that was the name of the software. The search is just so powerful that I didn't have to think. And she thought that I remember my stuff, which I don't.
Yeah.
um, if we go back here, right, I just started our one-on-one notes here. So I can easily uh, have the bullet points here, right? So this is a note, add sub bullet points, make other notes, um, create links. So just add a link here and we can link it. And then I can say this also references a tag called outstanding. So whenever I use that outstanding tag, any note where I've used the word outstanding is going to show up. So if I just say podcast, another tag, so I can keep adding these tags on the fly. And now I clicked on podcast and you can see that I've used the word podcast 3 times and it's showing me where all I have used it. So I can go to this one here and see what it was about. Even though this doesn't have hashtag, it has the word podcast mentioned somewhere where Mem has picked it up.
It's really interesting. Yeah, I can see how this would be really helpful for meeting notes, for, um, uh, yeah, like you said, a mini CRM, anything like that.
Yeah.
This is powerful.
So what I do in Inbox is I keep my weekly meetings here, right? So I have my one-on-one meetings within my work people. So all those notes are here, and all I have to do is go in every week and just write that specific week's date, and then just take my notes in there.
Yeah.
And you can see in this mini preview window, I can actually scroll through the entire note, which is such simple functionality, but I'm sure it was hard to build it in the backend. Flows is where the magic happens. You can send memes to be a meme from Twitter, text we talked about. You can even do it from emails. You can connect it with Zapier. Uh, you can have scheduled memes like a daily, hey, send me a daily motivational quote or something. And then you can configure your templates. So I have like my one-on-one meeting template, just regular meeting templates, monthly meeting templates and all of those, then all I have to do is when I start typing a new note, I'm in a monthly meeting, I'll just create the monthly meeting template. It automatically puts in all the people that are in that, all the hashtags that I want, and today's date. And all I have to do is take my notes.
Well, what's it
And
cost, Amit? What's it cost?
it's free.
It's free.
It's free. And Chris, watch this. You will appreciate this as a writer. See what happened when I started typing?
Mhm.
All the noise disappeared.
Yeah, that's nice. I like it. It's like a focus mode that takes away all the mess on your screen.
Yep. And as soon as I'm done typing, I move my mouse, all the stuff, and I can still get rid of it, right? I can use these arrows to kind of just minimize it and still have my focus mode.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice. Well, these have been some interesting apps today. These are, last week I really liked the apps we had because they were the kind of things that I would use all the time, right? These though have takes my mind to a whole nother level. It's to help me see the possibilities of what we could do, and it makes you just want to play around in it for a while.
Have
So
I converted you or have I just given you a glimmer of
I,
hope?
I I think I might have to download Mem again. I tried it once. I think I might need to try it again and just see if I can make it's what I like about Mem is that it seems to be it has some of the functionality of something like an Obsidian without all of the difficulty of learning it, right? It just goes ahead and links some of the words that you might use to help you link those notes together without feeling like, okay, I need to really
And you
build out
have
some kind of monster, right?
exactly, and you have a 50,000 plus following on Twitter, so you will appreciate this two-pronged approach. One was you see a tweet you like, you just under that tweet you just type at mem2do.ai.
Mhm.
It will take that tweet and put it in your mem
Hmm.
as a new note.
Yeah.
Two, what a genius free marketing idea. Like people are like, what the hell is this mem to
Yeah.
do.ai? So it was kind of like a two-pronged approach, and I love it. I have some tweets saved in there that I'm like, I need to come back to this tweet because it was one of those tweet storm threaded tweets that just
Mhm.
had like nuggets of gold in there.
Yeah,
So I thought that was a genius idea.
that's really good. Well, take us through these, take us through the ones we talked about today and just give us a brief recap, would you?
Yep. So we have Obsidian, and then in the same vein, we have Roam Research that goes with Obsidian. Then we have Craft.do, which is more for visual, sending proposals and whatnot. We have Tana.inc, which is currently free, but you never know what's going to happen. And they have already said their pricing would be about $10 a month. And then we have my favorite, mem.ai, free. And then if you want to use the MEMX, which is the AI functionality, then you have to pay for that. But I haven't needed it. I think their internal search is so awesome that why bother?
Well, there you go. That's the Course Wizards deep insights into notes 2 weeks in a row. We hope you've been able to find a note app that you like after listening to us talk about it and watching us talk about it on YouTube. If you would, if you enjoyed this episode, this podcast with someone you know, if you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe and click that bell. And that helps other people find it. And it also makes sure that you never miss out on an episode. So until next time, this is Amit and Chris saying,
Keep
be
creating.
creative, keep creating. Bye bye.
Bye.